Hey everyone, welcome again to another 360 Timmy. So today we're in Crystal Palace Park, and today my special guest is Rick Stanton.
Hey mate, how you doing?
Hi Rick, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So Rick is a filmmaker and he's just brought his film out, Spectrum, which we're going to discuss. Now, Spectrum is about autism and neurodiversity, and the subject is very close to you because you grew up with your brother who has autism, is on the spectrum. Where did the inspiration for the film come from? Was it your experiences growing up as a child, or?
Yeah, so basically, to give a bit of the story away, the film has a very dramatic climax at the end where a guy sort of witnesses someone being attacked and then essentially gets wrongly accused for that attack. And first of all, when I started writing the film, I actually wrote that scene first because that is an incident that happened to me about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But once I was walking home from the pub at 2 a.m. in Stratford with my cousin, and then we came across this woman who'd been attacked. She had all blood over her face, she was screaming, and then as we were trying to help her, she was pushing us away, kicking us away, and then the police arrived and put me and my cousin in handcuffs and put us on the floor. And then luckily a woman from a tower block witnessed it and came down and said, these guys have got nothing to do with it. I'm the one who called the police.
Yeah.
I saw the woman get attacked, blah, blah, blah. So first of all, I wrote that scene. It's like, okay, I want to put this into a film somewhere. Let me write that scene and then see where that takes us. And then I thought, okay, what if this had happened to my brother who has autism? How would he react to that? How would he react different? Would he react any different? So then I just sort of started writing down some elements from his life, what I've witnessed as somebody with him having autism. So then it kind of just took that process really. So it kind of started with an ending, and then we had to go backwards and see how we got to that event. And that's how we got.
That's quite a novel way of writing a film. Have you done that before, where you write the last scene first?
I suppose, have I done it before? No, is the answer to that. I haven't done that before, but I suppose you just need a catalyst to get you going.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it's like, okay, what would it could have gone? That film could be many things, you know, just to get to that event.
Yeah.
But this is just where we ended up with it, because once I started writing it was like, oh, actually, there's a lot in here of just the truth, you know. And I felt like people with autism have often been like misrepresented within TV and film as well.
Yeah.
I think like sometimes people would see autism in a movie as like a special ability, like in Rain Man when he can count cards, things like that, rather than just seeing like the day-to-day life of, if you've got any disability, your sort of everyday struggles are the same as anybody else. And we just wanted to sort of have that naturalistic feel to it, really.
And of course, I mean, I mentioned earlier there's autism in my family, and I certainly think when I was younger, I mean, I'm probably 10 years older than you, but when I was younger, I didn't hear autism out there. Brain Man was the only example, actually, but today there's lots of neurodivergence out there. It's understood a bit better, isn't it? It's still not quite there, I don't think. Would you say? Yeah,
I suppose it's sort of considered sweet, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like if you watch shows like I don't know, the Undateables, for example.
Yeah.
There's almost like a R to it, you know, like, oh, that's sweet. You know, like people with disability want to fall in love. It's like, well, of course they do. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be loved, and I kind of wanted to step away from that slightly to just feel a bit more like, oh yeah, this is a bit more raw with it, I guess. And but yeah, like you said, when I was growing up, my brother didn't get diagnosed for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So he got first thoughts of maybe he might have autism was when he was like 5. He didn't get an actual diagnosis until he was 15.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? It's a long time.
And that's a difficult time in secondary school, isn't it? To have that. Well, in fact, he probably would have needed support long before that period. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So you shared a room with him growing up. So did you understand it at the time?
I guess when I was a teenager, not so much. It's probably more of a bit of a frustration, to be honest. You know, like because when you're a teenager, you're going through a lot yourself, and then when somebody you're sharing a room with has different challenges, there's lots of frustrations there. And I suppose that's just common with any sort of brother relationship anyway. But I think once we had left school, things changed a bit more, because I was out doing my own thing. Steve was sort of going to different autism groups and support groups, which was really good because Steve lives in Newham in London, in East London,
Yeah.
and they have a good support network there. They supply a lot of groups, which is really important because just having that social skills is dramatic for everybody. You know, if you can get a group around you that understands you, then it gives you more opportunities to sort of understand who you are and help others along the way as well.
Yeah.
And I think Steve was lucky because he did have that when he left school. He got into groups like that, which was great for him.
And what sort of career did he progress, or what did he want to do, and what did he end up doing?
Oh, so basically with these support groups, he had some placements in work.
Yeah.
So he got a year's placement at St Thomas's Hospital, and with that he did like 4 or 5 different jobs over the course of the year, which is great because then he got to do like portering, he got to work in the office, work in the canteen, so he got to build lots of different skills. The only thing was this was unpaid, so he had to do like a whole year's placement, unpaid, 5 days a week, and that's great, but also if you're working, you're obviously good enough to get paid.
Yes,
there was
absolutely.
no job at the end of it either. It was just the next placement will go to somebody else that needs it, which is fine. The thing after that though, what happened was he would go for jobs for like, I don't know, a supermarket or whatever, and then he would get told that he doesn't have enough experience.
Yeah.
Where that just felt like he was pushed to the side really, because if he had done these jobs working in a hospital, which is going to be a lot more challenging job than working in a supermarket,
Yeah.
then he could do this, you know. And he wasn't given that fair opportunity. This is what we felt anyway. But
And
now
you do cover that in the film, don't you? Because he goes through an interview process in the film.
yes, so that was kind of a key point in the film that was important for us to have, I think, because the way I see like when you have a job, it's not just, oh yeah, I have a job because I need money. Job supplies so much for people. It gives you social skills, it gives you confidence, it gives you sort of a reason to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
And I've seen that with Steve, because Steve does have a job. He works at West Ham Football Ground as a cleaner, cleaner after games. So he'll go to games, and then he'll be cleaning as the game's on, and then he'll clean after. And that's progressed him so much more than any other sort of aspect of life.
Yeah.
Just having a job and having to be somewhere has built his confidence up really quickly.
Yeah.
Because of that opportunity.
So I also believe that your camera operator is a partner you've had since school. So where did your filmmaking come from? Where did you pick that up from?
So that started when I was probably about 10. Really, it started because I got really into movies then.
Yeah.
Like I watched Pulp Fiction when I was about 9.
Yeah.
And then I remember my dad saying to me, if you like this, you should watch Reservoir Dogs, which is very bad parenting. But I remember that very specifically, like, okay, I'm watching like...
But it's for the art, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was from there, it just sort of progressed from there of just being into movies and just love talking about movies, watching movies. And then when I was about 14, 15, I bought like I had a video camera, and I just taught myself to edit on like, I just got a dodgy copy of Adobe Premiere, and then was just making like little kung fu videos and skate videos and that sort of thing, messing around really, but learnt to edit that way.
Yeah.
And then it was sort of put on the shelf for a bit because I got into, when I was like 18, 19, I got really into like the sort of Camden indie music scene, and was just always out drinking and just going to watch shows and stuff like that. But that progressed because I got to meet people, and then I started to run my own nights, putting on bands in Camden and Old Street and places. But that gave us connections because we knew loads of like little bands and stuff, and sort of semi bands that are doing well at the time. And then my friend that I used to run the nights with, he became a music manager, and his artist got signed by Universal. And then from that, he was like, can you come and just film like some shows or whatever?
Yeah.
I just started to film and stuff, and it just progressed from there really, of word of mouth. Like I started filming for a company called Metropolis Music, who managed Amy Winehouse. I got to film Amy. I got to film like, at V festivals.
That's incredible.
And then like when Amy passed away, I started filming for like the Amy Winehouse Foundation, and it just sort of carried on from there really. But it all is the start of it is because I taught myself to edit when I was a kid.
And there is a funny story about your dad's involvement in the film industry.
Oh, well, I've said to people before, like as a kid, do you know what I mean? I didn't know anybody in show business at all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I didn't go to college, I didn't go to uni. And after sort of, as an adult, only recently, I've sort of thought the reason I had never went to college or university is because I never knew anybody that had ever been.
Yeah.
The only person I knew who had been to university was like the GP. Do you know what I mean? Or the teachers that are teaching me in school.
Yeah.
So it wasn't it felt like something that other people did. It never felt like an option. And I've sort of joked that the only closest person I knew in show business was my dad, because he worked in a porno warehouse stacking mags and VHS.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just like a nice little joke for it.
But it's nice that, isn't it, that you're in this film business, you've got a film out, and you didn't have to go for university. You're self-taught effectively, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's always I've always done it that way, you know. I've always just loved learning, but my own way. I suppose, do you know what I mean? I could be on the spectrum in my own way as well, because I find it easier to sort of teach myself and sort of learn by your mistakes and figure it out, rather than this is how the rules are.
Yeah.
Now just get on with it. It's more like, I suppose it's a bit like the engineer that's opens up the telephone to see how it works.
Yeah.
I've always sort of reverse engineered it a bit like that, I guess.
So thinking about the film, it's very much a family affair. So your brother's in it, obviously.
Yep.
Your brother's friends
Yep.
are in it. Your mum's in it.
Yep.
Your old family home's in it.
Yep.
And then you've also got a BAFTA-winning actress in it as well. That's
Yeah.
quite a mix.
It's basically, when I wrote the film, I had put myself in a tricky position really, because once I wrote it, which was, I don't know, like a 17-page, 20-page document, I was like, oh, I really want to make this now. And what happens when you come up with an idea, if you really want to make it, you kind of have no choice really. You have to just go for it. So at this point, I hadn't even spoke to Steve about the project at all. I didn't know it existed. So now I went over to see him and was like, look, I've got this idea. I want you to play the lead. How do you feel about that? And I think he was just a bit shocked at first, thinking like, what? Like, I'm not an actor or whatever. Like, I don't know. What is this, you know? So then I was like, look, it's going to be fun. It's going to be just really fun. We're just going to make it together. It'll be a slow process, just day by day. And then we'll chip away at it and we'll just have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
And who cares if it's not any good, you know? And then basically I did a little screen test with him, because I thought, oh, I don't actually know. Do you know what I mean? It could be a disaster.
Yeah, you put the camera on, he freezes or something.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do a little screen test. So what we did is I came over, and then one of the scenes that is in the film, I just did like a little dummy run of it. And then when we was doing the dummy run, I was like, I just need another person to be in the scene. So I just called my mum in and was like, look, just say this to Steve, come in and say this to him, blah, blah, blah. And then when I just got home, edited it together and thought, oh, this is work, we've got something here. I was like, oh, okay, she has to be in it now, because it just feels so natural, you know?
Yeah.
We just want it to feel authentic as possible, and there's no other way to do it, and there's no point casting somebody else. Just get her to do it. It should be cheap. You know what I mean? She'd do it for free. So that's how we sort of did it, and then it kind of evolved from there, really. Then I had to get Steve's friends to be involved as well, because it's like, okay, we need friends for you. Let's just get real people on the spectrum to be the real friends.
And they were willing to take part, or was that a lot of...
A couple of Steve's friends were not interested.
Yeah.
Like, there was a couple of people I approached first and was like, would you like to do it? And they were skeptical about it. So we was like, okay, no worries, no pressure. We just asked someone else, so we asked someone else, and then managed to get a few people that was up for it. Yeah, and it was great, and everybody brought something really unique to the table, which was what we wanted, you know?
Yeah. And how did you secure an actress with a BAFTA?
So Wunmi, I've actually known for about, I don't know, 15 years, maybe more.
Yeah.
Sort of through my girlfriend, really, who's the producer on the film. We've always worked together as well. Penny as a producer, me as a director. So then I hadn't asked Wunmi to be in it. She didn't know about the project because she lives in LA.
Yeah.
And then I was just prepping the scene. I was like, okay, next 2 weeks we're going to do the scene in the support worker scene with 6 people all around in a session. So as I was prepping it, trying to get dates from people, stuff like that, Penny said, oh, Wunmi's back in town at the moment. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just text Wunmi and was like, look, we're doing this film. Here's a little, I sent her, I think, like a scene from it that was already cut together.
Yeah.
And I just said, look, we're doing this project. Would you have some time? Just come down, do this one scene, and then she just called me up and was like, I can do it. Yeah, let's just do it.
Fabulous.
And she was like, I can do, like, the thing is, I think she was shooting for like ITV or something at the same time.
Yeah.
And she was heavily pregnant as well. So she was like, look, I can only give you like an hour.
Yeah.
A 1 hour window. And I was like, that's fine.
I know stunt work.
Yeah, 1 hour. And I was like, that's fine. What we'll do is we'll book a room to feel like a community centre right near your house. So you can just pop out, do the scene, and then leave. And that's basically how we did it. And it just means that the film's got some credibility, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, it just means when you send it out to people, hopefully they go, oh, okay, I'll check this out, you know, because it's star power sells, you know, that's what it is.
And you had a legacy funding from your grandmother who passed away?
Yeah, so basically when we started to make the film, we'd already started, and it was essentially just me funding it myself, and it was costing pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, oh, when I go and film at my mum's house or whatever, I just buy everyone a takeaway at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's just happy to just sort of do it like that. But then in the film, there's a couple of bigger scenes. Like there's a scene with a police car shooting at night.
Yes.
5 actors.
I saw that, and it's that genuine looking police car, not just a security guard uniform. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very authentic.
The film costs around 5,000 to make, I reckon.
Yeah.
That ballpark, 5,000 to 6,000, but sort of 3,000 or maybe more. I can't even remember now, I don't want to know really. 3,000 to 4,000 is just on that one scene. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's just like a big scene that's needed in the film.
Yeah, no, you can tell that as well.
And it also makes the film look more credible as well, because you've got like a police car and proper uniform and proper location and all this stuff. And there's another scene as well that costs a bit of money, where there's a big pub scene where we've got like 30 extras that are just basically friends and family.
Yeah.
Come down to the pub, and I put some money. I had to pay for the pub, and I put some money behind the bar so everyone could have a good drink.
Yeah.
They're just sort of in the scene. So
did the scenes get better? Was there more drink they had?
They drunk the tab very quickly, I have to say. Yeah, within the first sort of hour, I was like, what's going on here? It's because the first person to come into the pub was Steve.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Steve, just get whatever you want. And he'd ordered a cocktail, and then everyone started ordering cocktails. Right. I was like, no, this is meant to be like, get yourself half a lager and sit down, you know? Not get yourself a espresso martini, but it's 15 quid a pop. But yeah, anyway, it was great fun though. Anyway, it was a great scene to make. And
you had a novel way of, so the film is in black and white, it's in 4:3.
Yep.
Until just before the key scene you mentioned that you wrote last.
Yeah,
and
it
very subtly goes into, is it 235?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
It very subtly comes out as you're going down it's a bridge corridor, isn't it?
Yes,
I thought that's fantastic, but I like that. So what was the thought behind 4:3?
So when we did the screen test, basically, and I'd edited that little like dummy run, I just tried a few different looks in the grade, see what style was working, and then I put it in black and white. As soon as I put it to black and white, I sent to my friend who's the DOP on the film, and I just sent to him, and he was like, oh, it has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This just feels right straight away. That's why we did the black and white. And then the 4:3 was because we wanted to reflect Steve as a character, where in Steve's life, he hasn't been given that many opportunities.
Yeah.
So his sort of scope hasn't been broadened yet.
Yeah,
his
I like
world
that.
is quite small.
Yeah.
It's narrow. Because he hasn't been given opportunities, his eyes hasn't been opened fully yet. And then that's why we opened it up near the end of the film, because as he's approaching this sort of climax in the film, that's his opportunity to prove himself.
Yeah.
And that's why we opened it up. And also it just looks amazing when you're watching a cinema and you've been watching 4:3 for like 25 minutes, and then it goes big. Yeah. It really makes it more of a spectacle.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. As I say, it's so subtly done as well.
Yeah.
And I quite liked the way, I've lost my train of thought. I'll come back to that. Well, I'm going along, I'm so engrossed in this. What was it I was going to say? Oh, crikey.
I think you're doing well not to have any notes.
So yes, the conclusion.
Yes.
You mentioned earlier the real life scenario, because I don't want to get the end of the film away.
Yeah.
So you end the film on a pretty bad note.
Yes.
And it's resolved through the credits, which I thought was quite a unique way of doing it.
So that was done very deliberate, because we wanted you to feel annoyed with the people that made the film.
Yeah.
Because then it shows that you cared about the character. Because when that happens, straight away your feeling should be frustrated.
Yeah.
And if it does mean you're frustrated, it means the film works because you cared what happened. And then when you get that little resolve at the end, it kind of gives you a sense of relief, which is also nice because you're kind of, I like that thing of a conductor playing the audience.
Yeah.
And as they bring it up, and then they bring it down, and they sort of take you somewhere. So that was, when we made that edit choice, it was like, yeah, this is the way to go, you know.
So it's available to watch on YouTube at the moment.
Yep.
What's the plans for it? Are you going to put it to festivals, or do you want it to be free to view forever? What's the...
Yeah, so basically the intention is, I don't really like festivals, film festivals, because I think film festivals are a place just for people in industry to go and watch films.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's right, because you have to go and pay to watch people's work.
Yeah.
When the audience isn't at those festivals. The audience is, you know what I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
The audience are out there to watch things that they can get something out of. And especially because of the subject matter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I see it as an important issue.
It needs to be seen, yes.
It needs to be seen, rather than hidden in some random West London cinema somewhere, you know, like with some privies giving a round of applause and drinking some wine. So yeah, that's the reason we put it straight onto YouTube, to be like, look, this film is for people to watch, and hopefully people do.
I've also heard on a previous podcast that you may have a plan to make the film longer, so you could pick up what happens on the end.
So essentially, because this is a self-funded project, if somebody came along and was like, look, we've got some money, would you be interested in continuing the film?
Yeah.
Continuing the story? That is 100% something that we would love to do. Like, we would do that anyway if we had the money.
Yeah.
Like, the reason we had that £5,000 is because my grandmother died and just left us a little bit of money.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, we can either go on holiday or let's make a movie.
And what a fantastic legacy she's left behind there. That is.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like a really nice thing as a family to, because it's a family film now, you know, we made it together. So.
Have you had screenings in cinemas as well?
We had a friends and family screening, which was amazing. We had like, I don't know, 50, 60 people come down, and it was just a really nice event, you know, like just felt really good. Steve came to the front, did a little Q&A.
Wow.
Strangers that have never met Steve before, who are people that I know, were going up to Steve after and asking for pictures and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So he got to be like a movie star for the day, which was really incredible. Do you know what I mean?
That is, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's a nice thing.
Have you got a script for where it would go next, or? No,
we don't have a script. Basically, it's more, if somebody wanted to come on board, then do you know what I mean? Then we'll be able to bang it out really quick.
Yeah.
Because it could go many directions. It could focus on Steve, or we quite like the idea of it opening up to the other characters that are on the spectrum as well, to see a bit of insight into their life as well. Because obviously every story is different. Everybody's story is different. So we want to maybe explore one of those other characters.
So in the meantime, you're still working freelance. Have you got any other projects in the ether, or? The
main thing I'm doing at the moment is just trying to get this film off the ground.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Get eyes on it. I'm trying to do as many things like this as possible, just to try and create a broad audience. You know what I mean? This is my main focus at the moment. But yeah, I'm just, do you know what I mean? I'm a director for hire. So like, I did something last month for Virgin Atlantic. We did a ice skating promo with this girl, Vanessa Bauer, who's one of the ice skating professional, and I mean, we did a promo there. That was really fun. So yeah, I'm just floating about, do you know what I mean, and see what comes next.
Yeah, well, that's brilliant. So what we're going to do is we'll put the links in the bio and on screen to Rick's website, and where you can watch the film.
Yeah. So hopefully people go and check it out and get something out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But for today, thank you very much. I can't wait to see where this goes. I guess we'll catch up again and see where it takes you.
Yeah, amazing. Sounds great.
Thank you very much. Have a super day.
You too.